Do you know what the largest voice in America is today? The largest minority group in the United States is disabled people, handicapped people like me, and like a lot of my followers. And we live in a world that seems to have forgotten how God sees people. Today we're so focused on polishing away imperfection that we've started erasing it altogether. They've taken Porky Pig off television because he stutters. Because some believe a stutter is something shameful, something children shouldn't see. But what if showing that stutter could have taught compassion instead of hiding it? What if it could have reminded us that even our flaws have beauty and purpose? God never looked at weakness the way the world does, thankfully. When God called Moses to lead his people out of Egypt, Moses didn't see himself as qualified. He didn't have a powerful voice or perfect confidence. He had a stutter. But when God gave him the permission of confronting Pharaoh, Moses argued, "Lord, I have never been eloquent. I am slow of speech and tongue." But God responded, "Who gave human beings their mouths? Who makes them deaf or mute? Who gives them sight or makes them blind? Is it not I, the Lord?" And God wasn't looking for a perfect man. As usual, he was just looking for a willing one. You see, the world measures worth by presentation. God, he measures worth by purpose. The world says, "Hide your flaws." God says, "Bring them to me, and I'll turn them into miracles." The very thing Moses thought disqualified him became the proof of God's power. Pharaoh didn't listen because Moses was eloquent. He listened because God spoke through him. And that's the lesson humanity has missed. When we silence people because they don't fit the mold, when we erase their voices because they don't sound perfect, we are erasing the very vessels God delights to use. You think the way Tom Petty looked, he would win AGT today? Or you think Simon Cowell would look at him and say, no. What do you think? You think if somebody said, "Hey, I have a friend who's a famous YouTuber, he's got over 500,000 subscribers and millions of people listen to him every day," would you picture me? A lazy-eyed handicapped guy with a bald head and partial paralysis on the left side of my body and massive brain damage? Would you think that I'd be that famous YouTuber? Well, I am. And you know what? I don't always sound perfect, but God delights to use people like me and people like you because he doesn't anoint perfection. He anoints humility. He uses the broken, the overlooked, the ones the world says aren't enough, because they depend on him. Think about it. If Moses had been the most confident speaker in the world, people might have praised Moses. But because he wasn't, the world had to praise God. So maybe your voice trembles when you speak. Maybe your story is messy, or your past imperfect, or your confidence fragile. That's not a disqualification. That's your testimony. That's the evidence that God can take a stuttering voice and turn it into a movement that shakes nations. So, the next time you feel like you don't belong, I want you to remember this. God didn't choose Moses because of his ability. He chose him because of his availability. And if God could part the Red Sea through the trembling words of a man who stuttered, imagine what he can do through you. So don't silence your story, and never hide your imperfection. Because when the world sees a flaw, God sees a feature of his divine design. So speak anyway, lead anyway, step forward anyway. Because when your weakness meets God's power, history remembers your name, and that's the truth. God bless you all.